Okay, now we welcome on our dear friend Mitch Morel to do some picks. We still have to do our pick'em for the upcoming week in football. Mitch, how are we doing today, my friend?
I'm good, guys. I think the last time I was back on here, I was thinking was back in 2018. So it's been a minute. Maybe I got to be here a little more often. But yeah, it was in the middle of the MLB season way back when. So I'm happy to be back and happy to make some picks.
Wow,
Wow.
we got an OG over here. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll just have to have you back on, man. That's it. That's just what I'm gathering here. But for sure, thanks for coming on, man. We're happy to have you. Let's get into some picks. We'll start an interesting game in Norman, Oklahoma. Two teams at one point had high rankings, both coming off a loss previously. Ole Miss goes to Oklahoma. As it currently sits, Oklahoma 5.5 point favorites over Ole Miss. Mitch, who do you think's winning this game?
I got Oklahoma. I haven't looked at the matchup too much, to be quite honest, but something about Norman, it's tough to win there. Oklahoma seems like they're having a good year. So give me the Sooners.
Not so fast. Give me Ole Miss. I think Trinidad Chambliss, our guy, has a bounce back game this weekend. I don't think John Mateer is 100%. I think that's going to hinder this Oklahoma offense. So give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, this game is an interesting one. I don't think either team is really all that good. The health of John Mateer. I mean, Oklahoma's offense looked terrible last week against Texas. Basically got nothing going. Ole Miss. I mean, I spent the last 3 weeks talking about how I don't believe in Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with Oklahoma just because of the home field advantage factor, like you said, Mitch. Could go either way. I think Ole Miss might cover the 5.5, but I'm going to go Oklahoma to win in a close one. Um, Next, we're going to go to the American, not a conference we go to all that often. South Florida going up to Memphis. Memphis, a little up and down this year. Mitch, are you going with the Bulls on the road, or do you think the Tigers take it at home?
Yeah, to your point, I don't watch the American, but the one American game I did watch this year was the opener where South Florida snuck a quarterback to punt the ball and ended up having an electric touchdown to start the season. So take that as you may. I like South Florida to win here. I like the Bulls. They seem to have the magic touch this year, and I don't expect that to stop this time around.
Yeah, that's a great pick. This is getting kind of could be a look into the American Championship. Both of these are kind of the top dogs of that conference, but a guy that has kind of lost a lot of steam, but I think is a great quarterback is Byron Brown. Obviously, a quarterback for the South Florida Bulls. I like what he does. I think he gets a win in this one. So give me South Florida.
It's pretty scary anytime we all agree on a pick, but I agree with both of you. I mean, USF so far this year, they have wins over Boise the first week. Obviously, that big win over Florida. Their one loss is against Miami, who at one point held number 2 in the nation. Memphis doesn't have. They're also 6-1. Doesn't have quite the resume. Um, doesn't have quite the resume that USF has, and are coming off the loss to UAB. I'm going to go with USF. I trust the quarterback. I trust the team more. So I agree. I agree with both of you. Which what could go wrong? Next, we'll go to the Big Ten, a team that's kind of been up and down as well out in the Big Ten. Illinois, the embarrassing loss to Indiana, big win over USC. They got to go to Seattle and take on Washington. Washington, a team that I have painted as a team that gets no love, didn't fare well in Ann Arbor last week. Michigan kind of took care of business there. Mitch, the Illini or the Huskies. The Huskies 3.5 point favorites at home.
Yeah, so if you hear banging in the background, I apologize. My mom's making a cake. Believe it or not, that's a part of the process. But as far as the game, to the admissions committee at the University of Illinois Law, I love you guys. Get back to me. You're my top choice. Illinois is beating the Huskies. Let's go.
Wow. I'm not thinking so. You mentioned last week, Tanner, Washington was getting no love, kind of got worked by Michigan. I think this is a bounce back for the Huskies at home. Demon Williams going to get back on track. So give me the Huskies here.
Sam, I agree with you there. This is a system. This is a system that I use weekly. It has this year only has one loss, and that one loss actually happened to be last week. But home favorites, unranked home favorites against ranked teams tend to cover. It's just a system I play, and I'm no different here. I'm going Washington at home. The one time it didn't work was last week when Duke played Virginia or Georgia Tech, and Duke had like 300 yards of offense and was losing somehow at the end of the first half. But yeah, I'm going with Washington here. I'm playing the system. I agree with everything you said, Sam, and we all know how wonky it is when some of these Big Ten teams got to go cross country, play on the West Coast with some of these new entrances into the conference. It does not go well. So give me Washington at home. But to round out the college, we're going to go back to back at the SEC, back in the SEC here. Missouri, they got to go to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt fresh off the big win over LSU. The Commodores here are 3-point favorites. Mitch, you rolling with Pavia and the Commodores, or are you going to go with Pabula and the Tigers?
In Pavia, we trust. I think the guy's a beast. He's done nothing but win in his time there with the Commodores. And yeah, I think they're going to take down Mizzou, and I think they're going to continue to roll the rest of the season.
Mitch, that is a fantastic pick. Pavia is a Heisman candidate. We saw Bo Prebula struggle in the one game that mattered so far this season. I think he struggles again with Vandy, so give me Vanderbilt here.
We're gonna go 3 for 3 again. I love Diego Papi. I'm not picking against Diego Papi. I mean, I think Mizzou got a nice win at Auburn. I think that's a better win than the average person is given them credit for. I know they had to go to overtime for it, but I just love Vandy so much, especially at home. Vandy football is starting to believe Johnny Manziel will probably be there for some reason. I'm loving this Vandy team. Give me Vandy at home. And then the last game in the college slate, a big one over in Death Valley. Number 3, Texas A&M. Now, number 3 is going to take on LSU in Death Valley in Baton Rouge. The Aggies 2.5-point favorites on the road. Mitch, who you going with?
Yeah, I know you said number 3 with a bit of surprise. I know we talked about it. I'm surprised by the number 3 ranking. I know they've had a really good start to the year, but with that being said, I like LSU. I like the Tigers. I think the crowd's going to play a major part in this one, and I think LSU is going to beat Texas A&M.
I don't know about that. Obviously, Death Valley, super tough place to play, but the team on the field is ass. They should not be ranked. We talked about in the episode this week how Brian Kelly just does not seem to be the fit at LSU. I think that stands true in this one. I got Texas A&M.
This is a tough one for me because I do think Texas A&M is good. I don't know if I think Texas A&M is the number 3 best team in the country. Doesn't mean they don't deserve that ranking based on their resume and how they've looked so far during the year. LSU, I don't believe in. I've said that many times. At home in Death Valley is a different story with everything with Texas A&M. I think I'm going to go with LSU. I think I'm going to go. I'm agree with Mitch here. I think the home crowd, a road division game, LSU
Smart man.
have the talent. Who knows what you're going to get from that offense that has struggled all year long. Nussmeier has not looked good. Dealing with injuries probably. But I think LSU is going to get this win at home. So I'm going to go with the Tigers as well. But we'll round out our pick-em with a couple of NFL games. Mitch, your Bills, I mean, desperately needed by last week, coming off back-to-back losses. What's going on with the Bills? You think they get back on track having to go to Carolina and play the Panthers?
Yeah, to answer your question, Josh Allen is leading us to the promised land. Next question.
Okay. Resounding Bills.
Yeah, I think the Bills get on track this week. But Panthers better than a lot of people thought this year.
Yeah, Panthers are better than a lot of people thought. They are, by the way, 3-0 at home this year. The game is at home, and Andy Dalton will be starting for the Panthers. If that's a good thing or a bad thing, I will let you guys decide. But the bye week couldn't have come at a better time. I think the Bills get right. They get healthy. They get right. The defense looks better. this week. I know they've struggled a little bit in weeks past. They finally realized they have one of the best players in football in their backfield. They give the ball to James Cook, and they ride that into the sunset with a win in Carolina. So I agree. I got the Bills here. Sam, now your Cowboys, they got to go to the Mile High City, take on the Broncos. Broncos fresh off a crazy win against the Giants. The Cowboys, who knows what you're going to get with them this year. The only thing you do know is you're going to get points because that offense looks great. Mitch, you going with the Cowboys on the road or the Broncos at home?
I like the Broncos. That defense is the real deal, and Bo Nix has been a surprise. So I don't see any reason for them to lose besides the fact that Cowboys, Prescott, Pickens have been playing well. But my gut's telling me the Broncos. I'm going to stick with that. I think they're going to beat the Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Cowboys defense can stop absolutely nothing. That Diggs is out this week. Not that that helps much, but yeah, give me the Broncos.
Look, I think I might be higher on the Cowboys through the course of the year than you might be. I think that offense is really good. As obviously as good as the offense is, that's just how bad the defense
Yeah.
is. The what is it? The unstoppable force versus a movable object. The Broncos defense, the Cowboys offense. I'd like to think that almost losing to the Giants gave the Broncos a little like wake up. Hey, you can't play with your food right now. You got to play well for all 4 quarters. And I think that will be enough to take out the Cowboys. To me, it's also a vibes thing. I don't know, something about the Cowboys outside in Denver. It just doesn't seem like an environment the Cowboys will play well in. So I'm going to go with the Broncos as well. And then our last game, a big one, a classic NFL matchup on Sunday Night Football. The Steelers, they're at home welcoming in the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay, I would say, has largely not been as dominant as a lot of people think they might be, but in the end, they are 4-1-1. Pittsburgh 4-2. Green Bay 3-point favorites. Mitch, who does Aaron Rodgers get a little bit of revenge against the Packers, or do the Packers march into Pittsburgh and get the win?
In my experience, it's always tough to bet against Aaron Rodgers. I think it's going to be a good matchup, but I think the Steelers are going to come through and beat the Packers narrowly.
Steelers, Sam?
Yeah, I like that pick, Mitch. I am going with the Steelers as well. We've mentioned on the podcast the Packers are obviously not living up to hype a lot of people thought. I think Aaron Rodgers can play with a little extra chip on his shoulder and get a win for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way in hell I'm allowing us to have 3 Steeler picks because that would just help the Packers. So I'm going to pick the Packers. That's all I'm going to say. And then I'm going to say go Steelers, but I'm going to pick the Packers. Yeah, that's all I have to say. But we've got one more thing to settle. We got some Superdogs to talk about. Did not go well for me last week. Sam, did it?
Cashed.
Yours cashed.
Outright win, baby.
Oh, you had Georgia Tech.
I did.
Yeah, Georgia Tech.
Don't take my pick.
Yeah, so we will I need to turn it around. Not been great for me, but Mitch, who you got for your Superdog?
So I was actually surprised. I just looked this up right now because a few weeks ago, we probably wouldn't have been even having this discussion. But BYU, Iowa State is favored. And it does make sense because, they are at home. And historically, BYU has never beaten Iowa State. But that's going to change tomorrow when the Mormons beat the Cyclones for the first time. Lock that in, baby.
Yep. Love that. Love that pick. Love that pick. I'm going to be staying in the same conference as Houston takes on Arizona State. Arizona State coming off that big upset win over Texas Tech last week. I think it's going to be a classic hangover. Give me Houston +7.
Houston +7. I'm going to bring you down south because I'm looking at a team that I marked early on. This team is frisky. They will cover a lot of spreads at home. I bet on them last week, covered for me last week. I think this team is just better than most people think. And they're welcoming in a team that has been completely underperformed pretty much all season long from the very first snap of the season. Texas has got to go down to Starkville, Mississippi and take on the Bulldogs. Mississippi State has been a cover machine, and I think they do the same at home against Texas. Give me the Bulldogs plus 7.5 at home.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot.
Beautiful. Well, Mitch, we ask all of our guest pickers. In total, there are 10? 11 points. There are 11 points available. How many do you think you got?
I think I got 9.
9.
Lock that in. Yeah, I feel good about it.
Would that put him at number 1?
That would tie with Keegan Turnbow last week.
Oh, that bump.
Went 6-2, cashed his Superdog 9 points. So
of course Keys was able to do it.
Shocking.
The most Keeks thing
out here. Keegan, our new leader in the clubhouse with 9. Well, Mitch, thanks so much, man, for coming on, picking some games with us. Real excited for the slate. Hopefully you're right about those Mormons marching to Ames. You can get that one.
Right. In other news, go Dodgers. Should be an exciting World Series. I know they're favored heavily. This guy's making me think about Vernon Wells and Lyle.
Other news, go Jays. Take down the mighty, the David versus Goliath, the modern day.
It'll be a good one, regardless of who wins. But yeah, thanks for having me. I got to come out here more often. It's a really, really good time. Whether it's baseball, football, it's always nice to talk to you guys, catch up, and talk some sports. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
All right, man. No worries. We've got it in our bank. We'll get you on here sometime soon. We appreciate you, my friend.
Peace.